Okay, so now let's start with the major arcana. The first card that we have here is the Fool. The Fool is represented by a woman with a large, faraway look, singing to herself and beating a drum. She's wandering near a cliff edge. She's walking on a cliff edge. We also can see a small dog jumping at her skirt, trying to warn him of the danger of which she seems unaware. She may fall the cliff. She may fall off the cliff. The meaning of this card is blissful ignorance, optimism, and naive innocence. It can also mean disregard for potential risks, foolishness, and eccentricity. A wandering away from what society considers saints and normal. An unplanned and surprising influence may suddenly come to bear on the matter in question. If we see this card in a reverse position, it can mean disregard for potential risk, negligence, withdrawal from society, and even apathy or lack of action. Now let's go to turn over the next one. The next card is number 1, that is the Magician. Let's have a look at the painting in this card. As you can see, this card is represented by a man standing behind a table. It's a table surrounded by birds and animals, and he appears to be conjuring the animals or maybe blessing them, we don't know. And on the table are items representing each of the minor arcana and a vessel for knowledge, as you can see there. And there is an infinity symbol floating above his head, as you can see here. Yes. Although the ability to communicate with animals is not literally traditional to the magician in tarot, we can feel that it's a powerful and appropriate metaphor for the meaning of the card. The meaning is knowledge is power. This is what this card conveys. Knowledge is power. Empowerment through the understanding of our own abilities and the world around us. It can also mean pragmatism, or the ability to make the best of a situation. If we find this card in a reverse position, you have to be aware of deception in your midst. It can also mean cowardice or fear of change, maybe possible mental illness, disgrace, and abuse of power. And now we turn to the High Priestess. This is card number 2. In this card we can see a regal looking woman sitting on a throne with a purple tiara and staff. And we can also see that she is flanked by 2 columns, one light and the other is dark. Cheetah is sitting obediently at her feet, as you can see there on the left side, and her robe is decorated with golden Number 3 is the Empress. There is the picture of a woman sitting on an opulent throne, surrounded by symbols of fertility like fruit, rabbits, flowers, and babies. She wears a crown made of wheat, and the baby on her lap, and 2 small angels play musical instruments. The meaning of this card, it says that in a true victory, both sides have winners. It's also a sign of matriarchal authority, that is a more goal-oriented person and someone who is deeply concerned about the means used to achieve success. It means that you are a collaborative and cooperative person willing to compromise in order to reach a mutually satisfactory outcome. It can also lead to fruitfulness, fertility, and abundance. So the bounty of the earth, happiness, and good fortune. Creativity. If this card appears as reversed, there is a widening way of bounty through neglect and inaction. It also means weakness and indecision. And card number 4 is the Emperor. Caesar sits on his throne. He is flanked by a lion, and a black eagle sits on the window sill. He holds an orb and a small scepter, topped with a fleur-de-lis. What is the meaning of this card? There can be no winners without losers. Patriarchal authority, as opposed to the one that we have just seen before. And it means great motivation to achieve success, competitiveness, and the desire for victory and conquest. It also means a lot of power, masculine strength. But what if you happen to find this card reverse? What does it mean? It means a tendency to enjoy the failure of others and the lack of ability to express together and cooperate toward a common goal. This is the card of a real go-getter, but perhaps one who doesn't mind living a battlefield strewn with bodies for the sake of a conquest. And the card of the Hierophant, this is card number 5, is represented by the picture of a man standing in a cathedral, flanked by a priest, a monk, and 2 large white columns. Although his papal tiara, staff, and keys clearly shown to him to be a pope, he is simply dressed and relatively unadorned. Along with the high priestess, this card's name and imagery has changed over the centuries based on religious sensitivities. Renaissance texts away featured a pope, and even the occult deck showed a papal figure, albeit with a changed name. What is the meaning of this card? It's more like an spiritual guidance, I would rather say, an authority. Tradition and structure may be necessary at times to create order from chaos. So this card indicates a time of change, particularly in relationships. It is time to seek truth and meaning. It's time to leave the past behind you, clearing your mind of past thoughts and feelings. A greater level of spiritual understanding will. And let's go to card number 6, who are the lovers. An interesting one also. And in this picture we can see a man and a woman standing naked in a garden. They seem a little shy of each other, and the woman holds onto a tree as though for security. An What is the meaning of this card? Is the fulfillment through a relationship. Love of one creates compassion for the other. It also means material happiness and security. If you are in a new relationship, this card indicates that it will be deeper and more significant than previous relationships. If you are in an established one, it indicates that probably problems will be overcome and the bond is deep and strong despite the tensions or problems. But if this card shows us reversed, it means failure, division and frustration, possible breakdown of a relationship. And the next card is card number 7, representing the chariot. A warrior queen standing atop a plinth being drawn across the lake by 2 swans, one white and one black. A coat of arms is topped by a winged helmet. In the background is a city. They have used a female character in this card, keeping with older texts, as it's more relevant to the interpretation than the Rider-Waite deck are more men. The meaning of this card is that horses will only follow the reins if they want to, and leadership of a team can also mean that pragmatism, collaboration and compromise. It can also mean that a victory is obtained by working with others, not against them. Maybe it's time to analyze the causes of problems that you encounter in your life. Changing one's own behavior is more likely to succeed than trying to change the behavior of other people. This is the meaning that is conveyed with this card. But what if you find this card in a reversed position? It means that you are in dispute, defeat, and possible litigation over a petty matter. Take care not to let minor disputes become major problems. This is the recommendation of this card. Follow. Okay, but what if you see this picture of this card as reversed? It means weakness, intolerance, and lack of understanding need to be overcome. And this is card number 8, which is strength is represented here. There is a finely decked knight that is facing us on a grey horse, and he is carrying a gilt banner and a black bird sits on his shoulder. A woman in a golden gown supports a rampant lion who carries a shield on his back. An infinity symbol floats over her head. The meaning of this card is that what does not kill you makes you stronger. Looking within yourself and you will find the strength to survive all the trials and challenges fate throws at you. Use your strength to enrich your own life and those around you, and protect those who cannot protect themselves. This is the message that leads. And someone needs your help, maybe. This is another interpretation, that someone needs your help, and I find this is a very powerful and positive card and indicates great strength and character. But however, if you find it reversed in a reversed position, it can mean abuse of power, weakness, and inability to hold true to one's convictions. And card number 9 is the Hermit. There is a grey-bearded St. Francis of Assisi standing in a dark forest with a deer at his side. lantern, but it gives off little light. A grey cat stalks a quail. St. Francis was a significant icon during the Renaissance, and his poverty, modesty, and spirituality were somewhat ironically idealized at the time, when the wealth and power of the church was growing at an exponential rate, often as a result of religious persecution, allowing victims' assets to be seized. So the meaning of this card is know yourself, reflect, or make a reflection, contemplation and self-acceptance. Introversion and solitude invites you to be alone, to be in solitude, to make a reflection, a deep reflection on your life, on your inner life, on your spiritual life. And it also says here that you have to take care not to become too detached from the world around you. And if this card is shown in a reverse position, it means stubbornness, loneliness, and inability to communicate. And now we arrive to number 10, almost to the middle, because there are 21. Not 20, I think there are 21 arcanes. So number 10 is the Wheel of Fortune. Is a traditional nativity scene. As you can see there, a woman lying in a bed nursing a baby while the birthday father heats food over an open fire. We can also see a cow and a donkey watching from a thatched pyre. A wooden wheel on the one wall of the room is flanked by the 4 evangelists, and an angel, an eagle, and a winged cow, and a lion. So the meaning of the Wheel of Fortune card is that what you lose on the swing, you will gain on the roundabout. So life will always send us challenges and trials to overcome. So you cannot have good without bad, or light without darkness. Do not dwell on misfortune, but look instead to future joys. And the opportunity will arise as a fresh start, or the beginning of a new path or venture. However, if this card is shown in a reversed position, it can mean bitterness and misfortunes, clouding one's activity and ability to see the good luck also dealt by fate. And we arrive to Justice. Justice is featured or represented as an angel holding the scales of justice. On one side, a man is being pulled down by devils. On the other, small angels struggle to help a woman to restore the balance. The angel's staff is topped by a killed owl to signify knowledge. So what is the meaning of this card? Do what is right, fairness, justice, and equal opportunity. The strong should help the weak. Fate may aim to give all what they deserve, but sometimes she needs a helping hand. This is not the message of this card, really. But what happens if you find it in a reverse position? It means injustice, false accusations, and prejudice. Well, we started with the Fool, and we arrived to the Hanged Man. This is card number 12. In the picture we can see a man hanging upside down from a cross beam. One leg is crossed over the other, and despite his predicament, he looks quite calm and impassive. The crossbeam from which he hangs is sprouting leaves. And we can see the central figure used is Saint Sebastian, a popular Renaissance necessary, and not all battles will be won. Some are not worth fighting and are better off forgone. It can also mean self-control may be necessary in times ahead. You may need to bite your tongue and accept that others will get what they have coming to them without need for you to intervene. However, in a reverse position, it can mean that you have a tendency toward masochism and playing the martyr needlessly. How curious, isn't it? In this card, next one of the death, we can see a woman dying peacefully, surrounded by angels. A winged skeleton spread his arms to arc over the scene. This card often worries a querent, and yet it is quite a positive card. It signifies change and renewal rather than the meaning of the name literally suggests. It doesn't mean death. The meaning is that each day could be your last one. Would you be happy with your elegy? Okay, life is short, so seek real satisfaction and fulfillment while there is still time. It's time to take control of your own life, of your destiny. And you have to balance the karmic books and free yourself from lurking guilt and feelings of what could have been. If you find the death in a reverse position, it means fear of change is inevitable, but you must face it. Fear of change. It can also mean resistance is useless. You must accept what is going to come. You cannot avoid destiny or fate. Yeah, and now we arrive to temperance. In this picture, we can see a winged nun standing in a stream, pouring water from one cup to another. A saint casts blessings upon her from the sky. The stream is flanked by irises and gentle green hills. A duck is floating gently by. The meaning of this card is moderation in all things. Having achieved many material and spiritual goals, now is a time of equilibrium and balance, appreciation of simple pleasures and a sense of balance. It's also important to talk about diplomacy and skilled negotiation of mutual acceptance and compromise, whereas in a reverse position it can mean rivalry, disharmony and conflict, although of a transient nature. And we arrive to card number 15, that is the devil. A devil is dancing about with a banner proclaiming redemption in a traditional scene of hell. The devil's wings signify that he is Satan, a fallen angel. There is a dark second face on Satan's belly, and the scene includes other little devils, a snake and a fire. A man and a woman tear and their hair in pain and suffering. Frighteningly graphic description of hell were commonplace during Middle Ages and Renaissance, success cannot protect us from ill fortune. The gods can be jealous, and even the strongest fortress can fall to the ground. And this is warning against complacency and smugness. If you find the tower in a reverse position, it means that unfounded accusations, rebellion against an unfair situation is going to be set. And we arrive to number 17, the star. In this beautiful picture we can see a nude woman standing with one foot in a stream, and she has two pitchers which she prepares to pour on the land and water. We can also see a mermaid swimming by in the stream. There are 3 small dogs on the bank beside her, as well as a stork, 7 small stars, and 1 large one shine overhead. The landscape is a gentle rural scene with a water wheel further down the stream. So beautiful. So, what is the meaning of this card? Your goal can be reached if you set your path and keep to it. Fulfillment of hopes and dreams, success and critical acclaim of creative achievements, joy, health and happiness. But if you find it on a reverse position, it means a wonderful opportunity may be missed through negativity and a pessimistic outlook. Your goal can be reached if you set your path and keep to it. Fulfillment of hopes and dreams, success and critical acclaim of creative achievements, joy, health and happiness. Pool in the moonlight between 2 white columns. There is a silhouette against the moon, and a greyhound chases her hair up the rocks. A crayfish and a crab lurk on the pebble beach. What could this mean? That which wanes will grow full again. There may be obstacles to overcome and cycles of good fortune and bad. There is also a struggle through the darkness, and glad times will return. Embrace that with darkness can bring, then daylight will return all the sooner. However, in a reverse position, it means hidden threats and enemies. If you have a secret, it may be exposed, so beware, be careful. Oh, who do you confess your secrets to? The sun. In this card, we can see the picture of a baby wearing a plume that rides a horse in a walled garden. A gilsan beams down along white banner floaters in the wind. The meaning of this card is make hay while the sun shines, because this is a period of material and spiritual prosperity. Make the most of it. Fruitfulness and bounty can be yours, but take care to keep stock for the less fortunate times. Okay, this is a good piece of advice, of course. However, what happens if the sun is reversed? This is still an indicator of success, well, but perhaps a little tainted with arrogance and impatience at any slight bump along the path. And we reach sacrifice was one of the most popular Renaissance topics, and the promise of divine mercy was used as a powerful incentive by the church. Excommunication was considered the greatest of threats, even in a time when disemboweling and being skinned alive were considered acceptable punishments. As shown with the double card, visual imagery was an important tool in controlling the illiterate masses and keeping social structures in place. What is the meaning of this card? The meaning is more like enlightenment and acceptance of oneself and one's achievements in life. Also, standing ready for divine scrutiny, confident in the knowledge that one has lived a fair and just life. This card also indicates both an end of a new beginning. But what if you find this card reversed? It can mean the opposite. It can mean inaction, inertia, and resistance to change, or a hopeless attempt to fight to the inevitable. And now let's go to the last one, the card 21, that is represented in the world. In the world, we can see a woman shielding people benevolently under her cape. She's surrounded by the four evangelists from Ezekiel,